Hi there, folks. Welcome to this week's Editors Roundtable. I'm Kevin Daly, Opinion Editor, joined by Aiden Ryan, our intrepid leader and distinguished Editor-in-Chief. Also joined this evening by Project Conservation President and Junior Undergraduate Student Association Senator Marissa Verdi, who's making her debut on the Editors Roundtable. Marissa, how are you feeling tonight?
Oh, pretty awesome.
She's worried about stuttering, so give her a break. Before we get into Marissa's purpose for joining us tonight, Aiden and I were down at the Avant building on Tuesday evening. We joined the Erie County Republican Committee, led by Chairman Nicholas Langworthy, in their I don't know. I think you could call it a raucous celebration of joy as Republicans protected the county comptroller, Stefan Mihailu. Tim Howard, Sheriff of Erie County, was also reelected, and for the first time since 1977, Republicans now hold a majority in the Erie County Legislature. Political science professor Kevin Hardwick is joining that majority. I'm proud to say that I got to help a lot with that campaign, and I think we had a pretty good evening.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, Hardwick still hasn't stopped beaming.
Yeah, he is just short of jubilant, I would say. I would say that getting let out of class 20 minutes early is hardly unique for a Hardwick class, but he has been in particularly good spirits the past few days, and one can't blame him. I mean, every re-election for him is a tough one. He represents a district that's at least 3-1 Democrat, and he wins by 20 points every time. I don't know how he does it, but it was a good night.
Broad Hardwick appeal. And though you actually suggested, I believe in your piece this week, that he might be taking on some new responsibilities and the legislature.
Yeah, that's right. Now that Republicans hold the majority in the legislature, they'll have to do a number of committee assignments. Now, first they'll be electing officers, a chairman, a majority leader, neither of which is likely to be Dr. Hardwick, despite some speculation in local media that he's the obvious choice for majority leader. He will, however, have to assume chairmanship of at least one committee, and there's some speculation, mostly fueled by me, that he will take over as financial services chairman, which would be a real coup for Dr. Hardwick. He's certainly hugely popular amongst his constituents and amongst county politicos, but it would also render him one of Erie County's chief appropriators. We'd be in an immense position of power. See, I stutter too. He'd be in an immense position of power in the Erie County legislature. And there's also, a lot to be said for a potential anti-Mark Poloncarz coalition that could emerge from the legislature. Tom Logren, a Democrat from the 5th District, was reelected by a surprisingly large margin. He won by about 10 points. He has been a reliable vote with the Republicans on budget issues. He voted putting Erie County on record against the New York SAFE Act, so he's hardly a friend of the sitting Democratic county executive. He could prove a seventh pivotal vote against Mark Poloncarz. And then Barbara Miller-Williams was elected in the city of Buffalo's 1st District. She defeated Democrat incumbent Tim Hogues, who visited campus several weeks ago in a primary. And during the Chris Collins administration, she served as chairman of the legislature. She struck a deal with legislature Republicans to vote with them on budget issues if they made her chairman. She could be potentially an 8th vote against Mark Poloncarz. So county Democrats could have a lot of trouble coming and down the pipe for them the next couple of years.
Well, Kevin and I were having a grand old party on Tuesday night.
And it was grand.
It was grand. Marissa was back here at Canisius attending a rally.
Oh, yeah. It was a great rally. Located in the library. It was just really an interesting dynamic. You had the one group of angry/humble employee workers, and then you had the brand new VP of business along with his little sidekick, and then you just had like my old philosophy professor in the middle, and trying to merge them took a half an hour. And then once the discussion started rolling, you really had one angry maintenance worker matched with the two most humble human beings I've ever met. You have the saint with the chalk. Canisius College, if you're ever wondering where the chalk comes from, it is this saint woman who buys the chalk with her own money and then places it in the classrooms while we're all sleeping, but she's cleaning for $12 an hour. But the conversation got rolling. I mean, I learned a lot about the struggles of the maintenance workers as far as, we're cutting down the staff but expecting them to do the same amount of work, and the quality of work, which they're embarrassed about. They want the streets they want the walls to shine, but they can't. So I mean, Aiden, you brought up the point, is the problem really the money, or is it the amount of people we're cutting? I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand, but
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the new Vice President for Business and Finance, Marco Benedetti, was in attendance. It's our understanding that begat some issues. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, definitely. The workers felt really uncomfortable at first talking in front of him. They kept saying that, they're worried about their jobs. Some people left. You had the one woman who stayed in the back. She wouldn't even join the circle, and she just stayed in the back. And the only thing she said during the whole meeting was at the very end, and all she said was, "I was not here to preach. I am here to pray because God is the only one who can save us," which was a really important statement during that whole rally.
Seems like there's actually some division between the SEIU representatives from out of the area and the Canisius workers who have their interests, and the union, is protecting their interests but pursuing a sort of radical course of action that doesn't seem to suit some of these workers here. And for example, Jake Allen, SEIU rep.
What's your read on Mr. Allen? I mean, he seems a little bit green.
Perhaps a little bit green, talking action, talking, rallies and things like that, and really trying to fire it up. And also, I think his reaction to Marco Benedetti's presence was a little off base. I think if I were Marco Benedetti, the new VP for Business and Finance, in my first week at the college, that's the responsible move. I would show up. I mean, you've got a major issue coming up, this negotiation, and I think it was responsible in every way to show up and hear what they had to say.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I was surprised that he showed up, and the fact that he was there was great. Like, he literally just came because he just wanted to hear what they had to say. Like, he really wasn't there to interject. And you did have Jake Allen, who was like, "Well, make me this promise, give me this, give me that," and it's like he wasn't really there for that. He was just there to listen. So I don't know if that really hurt or helped them.
It portends an interesting challenge for the school too, insofar as I think they're seeking $136,000 in back pay, and our budget is only barely in balance. From everything that we understand, I'm not sure that that's money we have to pay them.
Well, the Griffin will stay on this story. You can be sure of that. Jordy, what do you have in sports this week?
Nothing special.
Nothing special for
Monday.
sports?
Nothing after this Friday. Nothing up these sleeves. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Regular week.
Well, there you have it. That's all for now, folks. Pick up the paper.